Hello, everybody. I feel like a failure. Hey, Doctor Who, What, Where? Hey, Carrie. I feel like an absolute failure. Yeah. Because I have a lot going on, and I'm not used to having to. Nothing's wrong with the kitty, necessarily, other than he hasn't pooped yet. Um, there's just a lot going on right now. I have the cat that I'm babysitting. I'm low on sleep. Um, I managed to get one live pretty much squared away, but then today we had that birthday party, which took time away. Um, I've been trying. I tried today. I've tried twice. I'll try again at 8:30, but I've tried rubbing the abdomen with wet paper towel and the other end as well. Oh, I'm sorry that it was glitching. I have a little bit on our first animal and then nothing on the second one. I'll look that information up once we get into it. Oh no. Carrie, can you hear me? Okay. Oh, okay. Um, I did text Bishop to try and get speakers. As far as I know, I haven't found out anything. I did on Dad's phone. Had the birthday party, came home. Haven't had much me time today. And that is important because that's usually my writing time to clean my head, that sort of stuff. And with the cat, that's not happening. And it needs to happen. It's very, very important. We're going to give it another minute and then we're going to get started. No, I have not. But I'm working on it. I sent the text out, so you know me. That's scary. I'm sorry. I mean, I believe you. That's possible. Maybe. It all depends on where you went to school. And I'm not suggesting that you tell me. Yes. Oh. Type them up. You can type up the abbreviations, the initials. Okay. College or high school? Yes. So let's get started because we are late. Ooh. Kitty cat really got me good. Anyway, our first animal for today is going to be brief. I don't know why it did that, Carrie. I really don't. I am. Yeah, I'm babysitting my sister's 3-week-old kitten. And it's driving me nuts. Anyway, for those of you that are new, I do a nature slash animal slash geology slash cryptid, mostly nature channel. If you're in that stuff, subscribe. If you're just slightly interested, subscribe. Because we need more people coming into live. Actual people coming into live. So let's talk about the Ibex. Now, this is the Pyrenean Ibex. I didn't delete anything. I don't think. Says you did. So the Pyrenean Ibex went, yes, a little bit, every once in a blue moon. The Pyrenean Ibex went extinct in January of 2000. Now, get this. Now get this. A tree landed on the last surviving member of the species. I am not making this up. An actual tree landed on the last surviving member of the species. Hey, Stormy Light, did you ever have a teacher whose last name started with G and he taught English? Don't say his name, but I don't know exactly what grade. I know I had him. Maybe you had him. I decided I was lonely. Who decided that I was lonely? So anyway, a tree actually landed on the, yes. He had an eye issue. No, actually, it was a female that was hit. So it died, right? More on that later. Remember that Ibex. Because we're coming back to it. So this subspecies lived in the mountains of northern Iberia, so Portugal, Spain, Andorra, and southern France. So not a huge geographical area, but big enough. During the Middle Ages, there were a lot of these animals running around. Well, yeah. During these guys running around. By the time the 1800s came around, their numbers began to drop really quickly. By 1910, there were only 40. That history teacher, heavyset or always talked about the revolution. No, these are not mountains. Well, hold that thought, Carrie. Hold that thought. Yes, Basque Country. It was practically hunted to extinction until the killing was prohibited in the 1913s. So these horns will sort of wrap around. Started with an H. See, I don't. Okay, yes. I know who you're talking about, exactly who you're talking about. He was a great guy, or is a great guy. I think he passed, though. I think he passed. Less than a century later, the species died. Like, it was gone, thanks to that tree. Scientists, however, were able to take samples of that animal, and guess what we did? You gotta guess. Yes. Yes, we did. We cloned it. He was awesome. Unfortunately, and I can't find why the clone died, but the clone died. And so the species went extinct a second time. Not just once, but twice. I'm not making this up. Now, this is a subspecies of the Iberian lynx. Now, the story of the Pyrenean Ibex is a somber reminder of how quickly a species can disappear, rather due to tragic accident or a historical human activity. Boy, I feel like, yes, it's tragic, but it sort of reminds me, maybe I'm wrong, but right now I'm tired. It reminds me of a Looney Tune situation. I don't know why. This species went from being abundant in the Middle Ages to extinction in less than a century. Despite conservation efforts, but stories of extinction also highlight the importance of conservation and deep knowledge about the species we still have. Before we move on to our upcoming segments, I was thinking more along the lines of Wile E. Coyote, more along those lines. We have zoo animal trivia coming up, but we're going to test how closely you are following the details of this incredible and now lost animal. You are going to determine if what I say is a fact or if it's fiction. As always, there are 2 fictions and 2 facts. The Pyrenean Ibex was considered abundant in records dating from the 1800s. The Pyrenean Ibex was considered abundant in records dating from the 1800s. That, we'll give it one more second. For those of you playing at home, that, my friends, is totally bogus. Because records of this species began to drop. They were dropping before the 1800s. They were dropping in the Middle Ages. The last surviving member of the species died when a tree landed on it. The last surviving member of the species died when a tree landed on it. No. The Iberian Ibex was considered abundant in records dating from the 1800s. So number 2 again, the last surviving member of the species died when a tree landed on it. Well, yes, but we're not talking about that last one. We're talking about the first last one. Hi, Atari Organic Garden. How are you? Okay, cool. Stormy Light, I'm on Facebook. If you're on Facebook. It is I don't know, Carrie hasn't responded yet. I don't think. It is good evening, but good morning to you. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. I'm very tired. Oh, okay. So on this one, if you said fact, you are 100% right. The official extinction date for this animal was January 6th, 2000. The official extinction date for this animal was January 6th, 2000. Yes, dates. That's what history and nature and everything else is about. I have one fact. Yes, we're talking about the Ibex. What was the Ibis? When was the Pyrenean? I cannot talk today. What was the official extinction date for the Pyrenean Ibex was January 6, 2000. I have a fiction and I have a fact. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the answer is fact. Scientists were able to successfully clone the Pyrenean Ibex, and that clone animal survived and is alive today. Scientists were able to successfully clone the Pyrenean Ibex, and it is alive today. Sorry, guys. That 4:30 wake-up call is getting to me. It is fiction. Scientists were able to clone it, but then it died. Okay. Our next animal is a little bit vague because I didn't get a chance to research it. Am I boring? No, I'm very tired. Very, very tired. I've been getting up at 4:30 in the morning, or got up at 4:30 in the morning to take care of a cat after being awake till 12:30 midnight to also feed said baby cat. So the next animal that we're going to talk about is the Caucasian wisent. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Yep. The Caucasian bison. We are going to talk about this. No, he's not being rude. We need to talk about this, and we need to talk about this animal carefully. If you were in my last live, you know that we took the ruffed grouse. Yes, but we're going to talk about it. So hang tight. So you remember in our last live, we talked about how the New Mexico sharp-tailed grouse went extinct. But prior to that, they had brought in a different subspecies in hopes of breeding that animal. Well, we do it again, not us, but people do that again with this animal, the Caucasian bison, or wisent, as it's called. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. They brought in lowland bison, which is a different species or a different subspecies of bison, in hopes of breeding them to save the species. And I've talked about this before. When you take one animal and you put it with, it's a subspecies, and you put that subspecies with another subspecies, you get a new subspecies. You don't get the original species. And so they were trying to reintroduce the bison, but it's not the same bison. This is a subspecies of European bison dwelling in the forest of the Caucasus. I know that's not right. Mountains. If you are in Hawaii and you are one of my subscribers, I very much disagree with using, yeah, Hawaii is in bad shape. If you're in the area that is under evacuation and you're one of my subscribers, please get out. Listen to the advisory. Dwelling in the forest. Anyway, in World War I and the October Revolution, the bison went extinct. And in 1927, the last wild Caucasian bison were killed. Only 1 to 3 were left in captivity, so they were basically extinct in the wild. In an effort to reintroduce a population of Caucasian-like bison, they bred them with the lowland bison. They also bred them with 3 American bison. The herd that resulted from this breeding was placed in the Crimea Peninsula and the Ukraine and reached 14 bison in 1941. Unfortunately, those animals were killed during World War. Well, anyway, they were wiped out during those people that were following the funny guy in World War II. Or the not so funny guy. No, not necessarily. Not at the time. Because they were not part of Russia yet. eventually they would set up a reserve for those animals in 1940. The herd was kept in captivity, but then eventually they opened that enclosure and allowed the animals to go wild. Keep in mind that, yes, the funny mustache guy. Remember, though, that even though they are Caucasian looking, they are not Caucasian buffalo or Caucasian bison, because they are not Caucasian bison. It's like we have bison out there, but we also have bison that have cow or cattle DNA in them, which means they're not true bison. They may feed on the same things, but they are not, in my mind, Caucasian bison. Um, I think these guys are bigger than our native bison. So these guys went extinct. And I'm going to say that they are still extinct because, gosh darn it. Okay. Right. Now, unless you're able to clone the animal, I'm so used to sitting a certain way. I just think that if I'm a realist, if it's not genetically that animal, then it's not that animal. It may look like it, and it may, to somebody that doesn't know, it's like if I go out and I take a chimpanzee and a human, and I mix that gene with another, am I really bringing back, am I really producing a human? No, I'm not. If we're going to bring back mammoths, exactly, it would be a different subspecies. But it is not the Caucasian bison that they're claiming it is. See, that's the thing. They said themselves that they flipped switches when they did the dire wolves. No, they're not. Now, oryx themselves are extinct, and they were huge. I've always said, since visiting Yellowstone, if you've never visited Yellowstone and you see the buffalo in the zoos, buffalo are bison. American bison are huge. If you get a male or a female standing next to you, or not standing next to you, but they will get right beside your car. Yeah, there's bison in zoos. Lots of zoos have American bison. A lot of zoos have American bison. That's one. That's a place I've never been. Is the Grand Canyon. Guys, let me know if I'm screaming or if I get too loud. I've my coolest experience was going into Yellowstone. I don't know if you guys are old enough. Um, but Yellowstone had fires. Pretty bad fires, in fact. And when we went through, you could see trees that had been burned. But as we were entering the park, a mother moose and her two fawns walked by. Absolutely blew my mind. As somebody who loves nature, that was incredible. We had a bison that was feeding right outside our minivan. At the shoulder, he was taller than our car, our minivan. We went into one of the geyser areas, and there was a female elk. My dad is a farm boy. He was raised on a farm, spoke with the cows, talked to the cows, probably pet the cows. I don't know, whatever they do on a farm. And he started talking to this elk. And the elk, next thing you know, that elk is following him like a puppy dog. True story. Saw bear cubs, black bear cubs. Yep, I agree, don't panic. Um, oh, we were in that same geyser area that we were in with the elk. I was speaking with a ranger because what else is a nature geek gonna do when confronted with a ranger? Um, and they were telling me, yes, you're right. Um, Doctor Who, what, where? Um, and she was telling me that a week before we arrived, they had to close off that area because a baby grizzly bear had fallen into one of the pools and was so badly injured that they had to put it out of its misery. And so they did so, but then they had to get mom out of there. Because you can imagine that a very upset grizzly bear, how they might react to the public. So they tranked her, I'm sure, and then flew her out of the area into the outback, so to speak. Well, when they were first putting the railroad through, it was not uncommon to have moose attack it. It's not every day that I get. I tell you, that was cool. It's not every day that I have somebody from high school show up in my live. That was a little bit creepy. That is true. I would have loved to see. I wish I had a crystal ball or the ability to. Guys, I'm really uncomfortable at the moment. I would love to be able to see. I'd love to have like a crystal ball and be able to see back in time, or to be able to lucid dream and see the future, like to see the past before Europeans. Nice. I bet you that he loved it, or it, she, whatever. Me too. What blows my mind is you are crossing the plains and it takes 3 days for a buffalo herd to move past so you can continue your journey. That really happened. Um, I'd love to see the day when the area that I live in, and for those of you that don't live in the area, this was pretty much swamp and forest land. That is true. Salmonella can come from turtles, but it can come from a whole lot more than that. So I hear Robin's going to bed. I don't think the Cherokee lived in tents. In fact, Hogans are um Navajo, I believe. Yeah, they look like more thatch. Like sort of a rounded building. Yes, they were. They even had their own language. It does, and it helps them absorb more nutrients that way too. Hey, what? Hold on, guys. I gotta see what's going on. I'll be back. Almost fell. And at my age, I can't afford falling. Sorry. They even had their own language, their own written language. Yeah, the Cherokee found gold. White man found out. White man found out about it and then kicked those guys out. Pretty scummy. Ooh, nice. Oh, I'm sorry about your finger. Tell me you didn't burn it with the marshmallow. That you just touched a hot stick or something. Ooh, I'm sorry. That hurt. Carrie, I got my speakers. And the good news is you're not speaking. You don't, well, let me put it this way. You don't have to speak. Doctor Who, what, where? I wish that people would have stood up and said no. There is a story about Apache Tier Obsidian. And I don't know why they call it Apache Tier, because my understanding what is that it has to do with the Cherokee. Um, but supposedly the as the squaws were walking the Trail of Tears, the Great Spirit turned the squaw's tears into obsidian. And if you look into the Apache Tear obsidian, it looks like a tear is inside of it. It's really a gas bubble. It figures. There were some real wieners when it comes to indigenous rights back in the day. I can't do anything to fix what happened. But from time to time, I can talk about plants that they would have ate. And stuff like that. Okay, guys, we are almost out of time for today. I try to limit this to an hour because I know it's a little bit late for some people. For not everybody, but some people. Um and my phone is about to die as well. Darn it. So, yeah. Oh, next live is going to be Tuesday. It is zoo animal trivia at 1 p.m. Ethnobotany is going to be the theme for the 6 p.m. and it's going to be weird things plants were used for that have nothing to do with ethnobotany. Friday will be spiders copy who, and then the 27th will be caterpillars who mimic. Saturday is a learn to care. It is Hawaiian monk seal and New Zealand sea lion, as well as Hector's dolphin at 6 p.m. and Atlantic humpback dolphin joining it. You're sad that we're leaving, is that it? Monthly roundup will be the 30, or round off will be the 31st. And then March 31st, we will talk about dyes a lot. And we're going to be talking about plants that you can use to dye clothes with and what color they would create. Don't know why my nose feels like it is so dry. Anyway, guys, I will not see you guys till Tuesday. Be good. I'm hoping to have new stuff up Sunday. But probably won't do anything until the kitty cat is gone. So, yeah, I don't know if that's it or if it's something else. But be good, everybody. And as I always say, I will see you in the next one. Be good, everybody.